Hey, horror fans. Once again, it is the Horror Miser Money G. Welcome once again to another episode of Women in Horror, where I talk to women who have contributed a lot to horror, whether they are in front of the camera, behind the camera, or even if they write something. And speaking of writing, I got a good one this time. The first time I actually have a horror novelist, and she's right across the ocean because she lives in Jersey.
Yeah,
Her name is Janelle, and I'm going to have trouble trying to pronounce your last name.
cheeky. It's a tough one.
Yeah, cheeky, because I was trying to, you know what? I'm not even going to try. So,
Yeah,
first things first, since this is the first time you have been on my channel, I want to introduce to you my subscribers and tell you who you are and what have you written so far.
yes. So my name is Janelle Schiecke, and I am a horror author. I'm a lifetime horror fan, movie lover, avid reader, and I just decided to start write stories, to write stories of my own because I've always had such an imagination. So I
Hmm.
kind of want to contribute to the genre with my own stories.
Yes. If you, Janelle has written several books, three books. One of them is Ghost Room, Death Cult, and the latest one that came out this year is called The Clatter Man.
Hmm.
I want to give a brief synopsis of The Clatter Man.
Okay, so that one, oh gosh, that one was so fun. So, growing up, my friends and I were always into urban legends.
Hmm.
And, like Candyman, Bloody
Hmm.
Mary. Where I grew up in Ohio, there was Crybaby Bridge was an urban legend, back in Ohio. And I just love the whole aspect of, conjuring an evil entity, kind of like doing a ritual. I
Hmm.
love the whole, tense anticipation, like, oh my gosh, is it gonna work? Is this really gonna happen? Are we gonna die? Are we gonna be okay? And I just love slashers as well. So with that one, it's fun because there's five main characters. I mean, well, there's a couple really main characters, but there's five, five in all, and they just go on they go rent a summer cabin and for a weekend, and one of them, when the Clatterman comes up in conversation over a campfire.
Hmm.
I love that quintessential scene. One of them dares to conjure him up,
Hmm.
and he is very real, and so the rest of it kind of is just chaos and them trying to survive the night with their lives.
Do something stupid and chaos ensues.
Yes.
Pretty much that's what we see in all type of slashers.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So basically, let's get on with the fun part right here. First
Hmm.
of all, because I have to ask this because you know how it is, women, girls, they're all sugar and spice and everything nice, but how in the world, out of all the genres of horror, I mean, all the genres of film, that you get hooked into horror? I
Oh
mean,
gosh.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, well, growing up, I have two older brothers. So I was quite the tomboy growing up. I was never really into, makeup that much or, dressing up.
Dolls, Barbies.
I wasn't into Barbies. And I don't know. I kind of I always liked, everything that was different, or, I didn't find what I wanted or a deep connection in, um, other genres per se. I
Uh,
do love comedy. I will put that out there. I do love comedy movies.
okay.
Um, but yeah, I actually have a very vivid memory when I was about 8 years old. My oldest brother was watching Nightmare on Elm Street with
Mm,
his friends,
mhm.
and I was hiding behind the recliner in our living room. And he told me, "Oh, Janelle, it's okay to look." And when I looked, I saw Johnny Depp being pulled into the bed and that huge, fountain of blood. Oh my God, I was so scared. Um, but I also love that adrenaline rush. And I
Uh-huh.
loved, and Nancy, who doesn't love Nancy? I love Nancy's character.
Mhm.
And I just, the whole creative aspect. So I don't know, that just kind of stuck with me.
Mm. Mm. So
And
your first horror film was A Nightmare on Elm Street.
that was my
Yeah.
first one.
I mean, out of all the ones, you actually watched the scary one first.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I find it fascinating because most of the time when I do this program, when I do this series, it's
Mhm.
always when you were young. Because I was young when I first started watching horror movies. Then, of course, growing up in the '70s, I
Mhm.
got hooked on to Universal Monsters and Hammer Dracula film series because
Yeah.
I was a huge Christopher Lee fan watching Dracula film series. But I was like 6 or 7 when I first got into horror. But it seemed like everybody was young. Okay, Slam. So you really didn't have a problem with seeing a very scary at the time Freddy Krueger, and you knew the difference that he was not he was real and he wasn't real.
That's the funny part. I mean, I knew he wasn't real, but at the
Hmm.
same time, the movie was so scary
Hmm.
that I was so scared to fall asleep.
Yeah.
When I did fall asleep, I was so scared I was gonna be dragged into the bed.
Uh-huh.
But also, like, also I just was so impressed by that creativity. I thought it was such a cool idea, to
Oh
like,
yeah.
come into
Oh
your
yeah.
dreams.
It amazes me what a great idea Wes Craven had just for having
Mhm.
a dream
Yeah.
and knowing about and about a man that he knew, and he
Mhm.
comes up with a very frightening character of Freddy Krueger, even though eventually he becomes one line Arnold Schwarzenegger like one liner. But back then, he was very scary, and it was I was very impressed about the film because at the time we were devoted to a whole bunch of slasher films, so it
Mhm.
was different actually seeing somebody who was actually scary and real, and you had to give Wes Craven credit for what he created.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely.
Mhm. So, did you know or ever hear about women in horror?
Oh god, you mean just throughout history or
No, it's grass Women in Horror was a grassroots organization. I
Mhm.
believe might have started in 2021 because at the time no one was actually giving women credit for the contributions that they made for horror, and so
Mhm.
they decided to, well, we're going to create this organization so that way women can get be celebrated because all the time we heard was just a myth. Never heard any about, the final girls, the women directors, the actresses who created the final girls. You know, we never heard anything about Mia Farrow, Jamie Lee Curtis, um,
Mhm.
Heather Langenkamp. No women was getting credit, so that's why they created this grassroots organization, and it got so popular that when I actually saw it, I'm like, wow, that's pretty interesting. So you know what? I'm gonna do this for my channel. So I eventually started doing this. Basically, it was during the month of February,
Mhm.
but because they didn't want to clash that with Black History Month, they moved it to March. So what I
Mm,
did was
okay.
every month in March, I'd hit this interview thing,
Mhm.
and because it got so successful, so now they do it all year round. So that's what I so I'm gonna do mine all year round too. So it's a very nice way to show women, give women the appreciation and the respect that they deserve for all the contribution that they've done in horror. Because without women, there'd be no horror films.
There really wouldn't. I mean, honestly, like, women are always the central protagonist, although we do see them a lot as antagonists as well. But,
Hmm.
I mean, they kind of bring this soft, delicate, but also very, smart and sometimes vengeful. There's so many brilliant ways that they're displayed in films right now. I
Hmm.
love
Yeah, so it's about time that women got the respect that they deserve in horror films, and that's what Women in Horror was all about. And I really appreciate that because,
it.
uh,
Mhm.
growing up, I was taught and made to respect women by my mother. So that's
Yeah.
why I say, this is what I need to do to show my appreciation for what women have done. And whether you're in front of the camera, behind the camera, whether do cosplay, you have YouTube
Mhm.
channels, you write novels, you write horror, you actually wrote films, even some actresses, that actually been in horror films, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, I appreciate it. I love it so much. It is very important to, it's important to have our voices heard because we do offer so much to the genre.
Uh, so my next question is, what are your thoughts about how women have been treated in horror films?
Oh
Because
gosh. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you off.
oh yeah, because it's because it's going to be a follow up question I have of that. But overall, what do you think how women have been treated in horror films?
I mean, recently, they've been treated with the respect that they deserve, but I feel that, the slashers came out what, like around the
The
70s or
80s.
so.
It was the
Yes,
80s.
80s.
Hmm.
Okay. So the slashers, that's when we start get the final girl. Um, but before that, you know, I feel women weren't really treated that well. I mean, they were just kind of the damsel in distress, and their surviving the film or the experience was usually not due to their own, you know, smarts, their own
Hmm.
they didn't really figure it out themselves. They maybe would survive because of a man or some other character that allowed them to survive the end of the movie. But so I have seen a nice transition where they're so I don't want to say complicated, but they have so many layers now, and they're being given the respect that they deserve. I mean, they're so. I mean, gosh, Sienna. I
Hmm.
always go to
Yes, the
Sienna.
Anna films. Yeah, the Terrifier films. Yes.
Yeah, she's she's great. I love that character. That Damien created, and we think of some Samara Weaving in Ready or Not.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I feel that they weren't given the respect they deserved in the past, but we're in the modern times now, I feel that they're given a lot more respect and a lot more diverse roles, and really interesting characters as well.
Hmm. Yeah, because basically, back in the days when you take a look at some of the horror films back in the day, women were treated as the damsel in distress. She was the
Hmm.
one that had to be saved by the man. It was
Hmm.
never the women that actually saved themselves, whether
Hmm.
it was Fay Ray and the original King Kong, whether
Hmm.
it was some of the women that were in all the women that we saw in Christopher Lee's Dracula films. Women get captured, then the man has to save them. You
Hmm.
know, just like in Alfred Hitchcock's Cycle, at the end of the
Yep.
film, the woman finds out who mother really is, and no one's about to kill her, but the man has to save her. You know,
Hmm.
that's that seems to be what the problem was. But we saw a little transition I would say, during the mid 70s, but then
Hmm.
it wasn't until the 80s, and then all of a sudden we have the final girl. But still, not because they were smart. It was just that they accidentally won. It wasn't until recently that now when we have final girls like you know um, Nancy, and we have Sydney.
Hmm.
We have all these other girls now. Now they're actually being smart. They're not stupid. They don't make stupid mistakes. Well,
Hmm.
I think that's one of the transitions that we're seeing right now, is that now final girls are actually getting the respect. They're not just, oh, I accidentally tripped and fall, but I actually happened to stab Freddie or Jason or Michael while falling.
Exactly.
falling. They actually are being smart about it. So I think
Yeah.
that's one of the great ways I like, because women are not stupid. They're
Hmm.
very intelligent, and they can actually fight. And that's another thing I like. They actually are fighting back, and I really appreciate what most people are now having more respect for women as opposed to what they did in the past. Because here's a great example. You take a look at the original King Kong in the
Hmm.
1940s, and then you take a look at Peter Jackson's King Kong. Um, Fay Ray and crap, I forget the oh. This is when my mind goes away. I forget that.
There's so many movies and so many actors and directors.
Uh, I think it's Naomi Watts.
Oh yeah, Naomi Watts. Yep.
Yeah, Naomi Watts, kind of playing the same character and Ann Darrow, but you can see the
Mhm.
difference is between Peter Jackson's Ann Darrow's and the original 40s favorite. She screams and
Mhm.
screams and screams and screams. But when Ann Darrow comes in there, she actually fights back at Kong. She chastises him.
Mhm. Yeah.
Chastises him. She's not a damsel in distress. She's pissed off that she's stuck in there, and she actually fights back at Kong.
Yep.
So I like that aspect of what Peter Jackson did with Naomi Watts' character. She wasn't a damsel in distress. Yeah, Kong still had to save her because you got dinosaurs all over the place. They're trying to eat her. Okay, so that gets me over to the next question. Kind of in what we've been talking about. How do you
Mhm.
feel about the evolution of the final girl trope in horror films? Because as I said before, the final girls would accidentally wind up saving themselves. But
Mhm.
now we see a little change. So how do you feel about the evolution of final girls in horror films?
Oh, I love it. I'm absolutely loving it.
Mm,
I think of oh gosh, why is the movie escaping me? Um oh, Aaron from
and
oh
you
gosh, I
talk
can't.
about you're next.
Yes, yes, you're next. Aaron, yeah, Aaron, you're next. So
uh,
so many amazing movies. And just she was incredible. I really
mm,
loved her character because she had this wasn't it like a military background or something like
yeah,
that.
survivalist. Yeah, survivalist training.
Yeah, it was really great to see how she was planning,
Mm,
to take down those criminals. So yeah, I feel that, showing this other side of women, how, because women could be very fierce when we need to.
mm,
And, I love how they're being shown, they are very strong and they can use their cunning wits to, outsmart, these monsters or criminals or thieves. And I just think it's great. I actually am excited to see it evolve even more.
mm.
I think that where we're at is great. I'm loving where we're at, but I can't wait to see what's going to happen even in the future. With Final Girls. Um, yeah, I love it. I just absolutely love it. It's so fun to watch the evolution happen.
Yeah, I believe that's true. Yeah, because that's a great point when you see Aaron, or I think it's Sharon Vinton. I forget. I think it's what her name is. The fact that
Mhm.
she's not scared.
No.
She's actually even more prepared to fight than her so-called boyfriend.
Yes.
That was funny, and she devises all the traps. There was one trap where she
Oh,
puts nails on the floor and the guy steps right on it. He's pissed
it's
off.
so great. I love the traps she makes. They're so good. And then when
Um,
she's blood smeared with
mm,
that axe in the window, and you're like, yeah,
yeah.
and you just can't wait to see what she's gonna do.
Oh man, I said, "Wow, she's being smart." Yeah, so that's a great film to see a different aspect of the final girl than supposed to
Hmm.
what we used to see in slasher films.
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, another thing that we used to see in horror films and slasher films during the '80s was that for some reason or another, you couldn't escape seeing a naked woman. They had to
Hmm.
show her breasts. They had to show her backside. Sometimes you had to see full nudity.
Hmm.
So, do you think that women were being disrespected or objectified during the slasher films in the '80s with the gratuitous nudity that we used to see all the time?
Oh gosh. I mean, I love seeing beautiful women.
Mm,
So I love, I love just seeing their natural beauty.
mm,
Uh, and I don't know, I feel that, I have heard horror stories about women who didn't know they had to do that and were
mhm.
put in that situation, and that makes me really sad. So in those instances, that's just horrible to have to do that and not want to, but in order to secure the role, that's what they have to do. But on the the other side of the coin, someone will were probably proud to do that, or not I guess I'm trying to find the word, but
They had no
they wanted
they really
to.
had no problem doing it.
Exactly, they had no problem doing it.
Yeah.
So, I can see it on both sides, and I guess it depends on, uh, if they were forced into it or if it was more, their being okay with it.
Mhm. Yeah, because some women were okay with it, some were not.
Mhm,
Some didn't know that that was gonna be part of the role, and all of a sudden the
mhm,
director said, "Oh, no, you gotta do
mm,
this," and it's like, "Well, this is not what I signed on for it." You know,
no.
because to me, I think it has to do more of whether the woman is okay with it.
Mhm,
Does it actually have something to do part of the story? You know,
mhm.
you're not
Yeah, that's the other thing, yeah,
you
does
know,
it.
is this part of the story, or you just wanna show some women's boobs just because you wanna have teenage boys drool over 'em?
Yep.
'Cause, unfortunately, one of the things I always get mad about
Mm-hmm.
is Jennifer's body, and you
I
have
love
the
that movie.
yeah, and you have the makeout scene between Megan Fox and
Yeah.
Amanda Seyfried.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, because the producers wanted to push teenage boys to see that, so they marketed to as a sex thing because
Mm-hmm.
you got Megan Fox on the cover and a school in this, but I was to say a cheerleader outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess that's not what the film is not about that.
No. Oh, it's actually a really deep film in many respects.
Yeah, in
It
many
explores a
respects,
lot
and
about
you
yeah.
know, that's the real sad part about it is because most
Mhm.
people only talk about the makeout scene between two hot women,
Oh, they
and
are.
that's
They're
not.
gorgeous. They're absolutely gorgeous.
And the film was not about that. It was about the
No.
friendship between Jennifer and whatchamacallit, Millie,
Mhm.
and that was the whole thing was about. But that's the whole problem. You have
Ugh,
men in charge, and the only thing to think
mhm.
about, we got to see teenage boys to see two hot women make out, and that's not
Yeah.
the film was about.
No, not at all.
Mhm. Okay, so what are your thoughts on rape revenge or SA films? Do you think that a man can direct a film like that, or do you think a woman can direct a film with those touchy subjects?
Oh gosh. So I've seen you ask this question before with your other
Mhm,
guests. It's a tough question. I feel that I mean if someone's I mean it's I'm in a very very horrible situation where someone has experienced that personally.
mhm,
They would obviously have you know the knowledge of more of a deeper understanding, of course, of
mhm,
how that feels. So that would be, I don't want to say an advantage, but that would obviously help them, flesh it out in more realistically and more yeah, I guess a more powerful way of showing it. It's tough. I feel that whether it's a female or a male, they would just have to, understand, be able to look at both sides, you know.
mhm.
But it's also you look at American Mary, for instance. You look at that
Yes.
movie, and there's a rape
Mhm.
scene in that, and you look at you know, uh, I Spit on Your Grave, which is incredibly graphic.
Uh,
American Mary.
the original or the remake?
Well, I actually haven't seen the remake yet. I saw the original.
Uh,
Yeah. Uh, and they are shown differently. So it's still horrible either way. But I don't know. I guess they would have to really take in all uh both people's experiences and
mhm.
try to portray it as best they could. It's
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it's not easy trying to, whether you're a man or a woman, trying to show something that, be it graphic or not graphic. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably still a very difficult thing to do because when I look at films such as that, I take a look at the films called Revenge that was
Mm-hmm.
done by the same director who did the Substance, and
Oh, Caroline Farge. Yeah, I love.
yeah, and I thought she did a fantastic job. She doesn't get too graphic in the SA scenes with
Mm-hmm.
the actress, but I love the fact that the revenge that she gets. Now, when you take a look at that, and especially with the remake of "I Spit on Your Grave" with Sarah
Mm-hmm.
Butler, now I commend her greatly because unfortunately in her scene, it's
Mm-hmm.
very brutal, it's very graphic, and she's basically nude for about a good 10 to 15 minutes. And I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure in the woods was probably cold and freezing, and then she has to
Yeah.
get in the water too. And I felt very sorry for her, but for some reason she has never complained about or said anything negative about that entire scene. Now, of
Mm-hmm.
course, her revenge is even more brutal than the original one is. She really f's them up.
Oh, that's amazing. I love it so much.
I mean, if you ever get a chance, see the remake, I Spit in Your Grave after the SA scene when
Mhm.
she gets her revenge on those dudes, you're gonna be cheering on.
That's amazing. I
But
love that.
I think sometimes when you take a look at some of the graphics that some of the graphic scenes that you see, like in Irreversible,
Mhm.
when we see that scene at the end of the film because it's told in reverse, And I
Mhm.
guess the director, who was a man, said that, well, I had to show that scene to be as graphic as it was because
Mhm.
I wanted to let the audience know the reason why her friend was so pissed off and so angry and he went after them. So that's why
Mhm.
I want to show it that way. And I get that, because
Yeah.
he really goes after them, but we have well, when we find out why.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mm. I still have to watch that one, by the way. I haven't seen that yet.
Uh, Now, do you think women directors are finally getting the respect that they deserve?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
So Coralie Farja, for
Yeah.
instance, with a substance, incredible movie. I love that movie
Oh
so
yeah,
much.
that's a great movie.
Oh, it's so good. Um, Gosh, and who was I don't know if you've seen Cocaine Bear.
Oh yeah, I saw Cocaine Bear.
I
That
love
was good.
Cocaine Bear.
It's silly, silly but fun, silly but
So
great.
Elizabeth Banks, who we all know is so funny,
Uh,
I thought she did a great job with that one. I thought it
oh
was
yeah.
really well done.
Uh,
And Yeah, I think they are. They're offering this depth that only women can offer to these movies. And I'm absolutely loving it. And with the substance, it had so many different layers to it. And obviously, as women get older, I mean, I think the main theme was so I mean, unfortunately, it's a fact. It's
mm,
it's a fact in society. Uh, but yeah, yeah, I'm loving seeing these women directors create these amazing films.
oh yeah.
It's
Yeah,
really
because
great.
it's one of the things I get angry about is when you take a look at the original Pet Cemetery. Mary Lambert did a good job in directing that, but we never
Mhm.
hear her name. It's always Stephen
You never
King.
hear her name.
You never
You
hear a name. All you hear is Stephen King.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
not that Stephen King doesn't deserve the respect that he was, but she
Yeah,
did direct a great job. It's like give her some credit.
great.
Put
Great
her name on the
movie.
on the poster.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So I think yeah, she did a great job. Most of the women directors I've seen so far have done a fantastic job. I
Hmm.
actually like what Nita DaCosta did in the Candyman remake. I thought she did a great job.
Oh, that was incredible. That was so
Uh,
good.
and
Yeah, I love that.
I'm looking forward to what she does with the 28 years later, the Bone Temple. The couple of trailers I saw seemed like she's got a good idea of how to continue that particular story. So yeah, so a lot of
Mhm.
more women directors are getting more of the respect that they deserve when it comes to
Mhm.
horror films.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, who is your favorite final girl and why?
Oh gosh. Um, I love Samara so much, but there's something about Aaron. I mean, there's just something about Aaron. I mean, God, it's tricky because I love Samara's
Mhm,
I love yeah, I love how she's got this kind of quirky,
mhm.
adorable humor that she brings to that character. And but there's something so kick-ass about Aaron. There's something so cool about her.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I think that's one of the great qualities of Samara Weaving and how she acts, especially with that character
yeah.
and Ready or Not, because she thinks she's found the love of her life and she's marrying into
Mhm.
this very weird and quirky, but
Yeah.
obviously very wealthy family. The next thing you know, she's like, "Oh, we're going to have to kill you because we're playing this game." It's
And
like,
it's
what?
so
What the hell?
it's so cute because as they're pulling out the cards, they're like, "Yay!" She's having a good time, and she's like, "Oh, I got this card." And then, yeah, when she finds out, but then when she puts those straps those bullets on, and she carries
uh,
that rifle, and she's got that wedding dress, and you're like, "Oh, it's so cool."
uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, very, very interesting that you would pick very obscure final girls. Most people always either pick Nancy or Sydney, but yeah, but Aaron from Your Next and Samara from Ready or Not, yeah, very good because those are very great final girls. You
Oh
know,
yeah, I love them. And
mm,
I was sad because there was supposed to be. I think there was supposed to be a sequel for two. I know there's supposed to be a Ready or Not sequel, but I don't think it's going to happen.
yeah, I don't
Um,
know what's going to happen because I haven't heard anything about it, and I know it's supposed. I know that because I think even she said that she was supposed to return for Ready or Not too, but
Hmm.
there has been no other development on that character. Even though I don't know what you want to do with her character or even Aaron's character or for your next.
Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's tricky. So yeah, I kind of wanted to see sequels, but then at the same time, they're great standalone films. You know,
Yeah.
they hold just fine, the way they are. So
So now I finally get to ask one of my favorite questions. Now, since you do not have a YouTube channel, so I cannot ask that question, so I have to pivot to this one. What got you into writing horror novels?
oh gosh. Okay, so there's so many things I want to say about this. And I love that question.
Yeah.
So, I've always been an avid reader. I read Alvin Schwartz's Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Did you read
Mhm.
those? Oh, I love
I'm
those.
sorry that's that. I'm last of the baby boomers, so I was too old when when those novels came out.
Oh,
So
gotcha.
sorry,
Okay.
Goosebumps. Still, all those those analog anthology series and books that came out, and I was too old
Yeah.
for those.
Oh, gotcha. No, Goosebumps is fantastic though. And the funny thing is though, I didn't read a lot of Goosebumps.
Hmm.
But I did read the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That was my first experience with um really just loving, and enjoying the writing of a horror story. And of course, I was very young.
Hmm.
Then as I got older, I read Stephen King, Clive Barker, Anne Rice.
Hmm.
And once self-publishing became more mainstream,
Hmm.
I wasn't really interested in having a publisher because I just kind of want to do my own thing. I want to write what I want to write. I don't write for my fans per se, but I'm
Hmm.
so blessed to have so many fans and so many readers that I just absolutely love engaging with and talking to on social media. But ultimately, I write what I love. And
Hmm.
because I write what I love, that comes across in the story, and kind of, there's that spark. Uh, so yeah, so as self-publishing became more of a thing, I was continuing to read, and I thought, wait a minute, I can write stories of my own. So that's kind of how it came about, and
Hmm.
I absolutely love it. Because you know um I take ideas from certain movies that I love. My writing's very cinematic. I
Hmm.
love to write a scene where you feel you're there. I love to describe the smells, the sounds, how something tastes or how it feels when you touch it, and just try to make you feel, immerse the reader in that scene. And that's what I love so much about writing.
Hmm.
And it's just fun. I love writing novellas because I'm a really slow reader, so it's hard for me to get through a very long book. The books I write are on the shorter side, so you can write it, you can read them, in not that much time.
So
Um,
how long did it take you to get through it?
oh gosh. Well, I read that, gosh, so I was, you know what? I lived in New York City at the time, so I rode
Uh,
the subway a lot. So I got through it probably faster than I would have if I didn't live in New York City. Uh,
yeah,
but
because I think
yeah,
that Stephen King's longest book is It.
it's so yeah, I've read it twice actually, but I
Ooh.
don't know. Yeah, I'll read it again at some point, but it does take a long time to read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the first Stephen King book I read was Pet Cemetery,
Oh, I love
and
that's my favorite book by him.
yeah, because of my first book I read, I'm like, holy shit! Wow, whoa, what?
That was my reaction too. Like, what? I mean,
I was like,
oh
and
god,
my mother's going like, "Mommy, what the world's wrong with you?" I said, "This book I'm reading, it's going crazy."
I love that.
Yeah, so
Oh my
that's
gosh.
why I got hooked on Stephen King. So, and I got read Carrie, Christine, got through it.
Hmm.
Mostly all that. I didn't read Cujo. I didn't read Cujo, but
I
yeah.
read
So I
Cujo
most
a long time ago. Yeah.
uh into Cujo, but yeah, that's why I got into Stephen King just by reading Pet Cemetery. Because in one
Hmm.
of some of the horror novels I've read, I don't know if you know. I think it's William J. Johnstone.
Mm.
He's written some decent horror novels, mostly about this character, and he's always fighting the devil.
Hmm.
One of the books is called The Devil's Cat. I don't know if you
Mm.
ever heard about that, but yeah, but that's what I got. That's some of the horror novels I've read.
Okay.
Uh,
Hmm.
so your first book. it's called Ghost Room. So how
Mhm.
did you come up with that novel? Is that a novelette or that's an actual novel?
That's a novella.
That's a
Yeah,
novella.
so it's tricky. So a novelette's like on the, so it goes short story,
Mm,
novelette,
mm.
novella, then novel. There's so many different different terms. Um, but yeah, Ghost Room's a novella. So the funny thing is that again, I was living in New York City at the
Mm,
time, and I had this reoccurring dream of this
mm,
room, this
mm,
stairway, and it was in this really dark, huge room, almost like a warehouse. You couldn't really see anything, but you saw the stairway on the
mm,
edge of the room, and you would just walk up these stairs, and there would be this really small door, well, a regular sized door, but to like kind of a small room, and you open it, and it was kind of a cozy room, but it felt like there was some kind of like spooky, spooky aspect to it. And I had this dream for, gosh, a month. I kept on having this dream, every few nights. And my husband said, "Why don't you just write about it?" I'm like, "I don't know."
mhm,
He's like, "Just do it. Just see what happens." So I did. And, at the time, self publishing was becoming more popular.
mhm.
But I had finished it. It took me a while to finish it. And then I sat on it for a few years because I was just scared. Because when you publish something, as you know, with anything,
Yeah,
it just goes
yeah,
out to
I
the
know.
whole
Yeah,
world.
yeah.
Movie,
Uh,
book, whatever. Um, but I finally got up the courage and I did it. But the cool thing about Ghost Room as well is that it's I kind of pay tribute to my childhood,
mm,
and the main character is Jess, and her friends Max and Amy are a lot like my childhood friends I had grown up. So it was
yeah.
basically like writing my friends and I, as kids in the story.
uh,
And we were always looking for something spooky. We were always like, going on ghosty adventures and going to places that were supposed to be haunted. So it was fun to just make this house that Jess moves into, this new house, have a haunted room.
mm,
And this gave the chance for all the girls to kind of explore it and see if they could figure out
yeah.
what's going
Did,
on.
are you still in contact with your childhood friends?
Yeah, I am. We don't talk
Oh,
a ton, but we're connected on Facebook.
oh, that's good. Did you
And
tell them? Did you tell them you were writing a story about that about your childhood?
yeah, I did. Yeah, they loved it. Yeah.
How does it feel when you're on conventions, actually seeing your name and people coming up to you and wow, I really love your work. How does that feel? I'm pretty sure that's probably very rewarding.
Oh, I love it so much. It's
Mm,
just it's so cool, and I'm such an energetic person.
mm,
I have so much energy. So when when someone comes up to me and they tell me that, they've read my book or they love my writing, to me, I love it so much, but I'm also just me, right? I'm just this person who
mm,
just loves horror, and I just love sharing my stories. So I love talking to them just person to person and just hearing their stories. A lot of them have stories about the first books they read, or maybe like, a haunted story they want to tell me. And it's just so fun to just connect. And I love horror fans too. I'm sure you're the same way.
oh
Horror
yeah.
fans, I mean, they're just so fun, right?
Oh man, it's
Oh,
one of the amazing things that I have experienced since I created my YouTube channel. Because growing up, and I'm pretty sure you had this problem too. People who people who are not into horror, but you are think you're weird. Oh.
yes, I had that all, and growing up, I was not like one of the popular kids. I was
Mm,
just kind of and I honestly wasn't into what was perceived. Normal was pretty boring to me, so I
uh-huh.
wanted to know about people that were a little different and more interesting. So yeah.
So growing up, I was watching a lot of people say, "Money, gee, you watch all that weird shit. Why are you into that horror? That's so disgusting. Why are you into that?" So it's like I had no one loved horror like I did. You know,
Yeah.
it wasn't until I finally got onto YouTube and watching some of the horror channels, whether it's like the horror show with Cecil and Frago, horror addicts, very good
Mhm.
friends of mine, Gory and Danny. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna see if I can get you to talk with Gory B Movie. She would love you because she's a
Oh,
writer too,
really? Oh,
and she would love you. So I'm gonna
that's
reach out to
great.
her and reach out to her and have y'all two communicate, and you can actually go on her She has this new thing called Gory Talk, and I'm pretty sure
Okay.
you two would probably have a blast.
Oh, thank you so much. I would love that.
Yeah. Seeing all these people who love horror just as much as I am, and it's
Hmm.
finally great to have a community where we're all weird. So what?
Yeah,
We
right.
like horror. We like seeing guts and blood and gore, all this other crazy crap.
Yeah.
I have to ask this question. People ask this question because my wife and I have been married for 28 years.
Oh my
Uh,
gosh,
does
congrats. That's amazing.
yeah? Does your husband like horror?
So it's funny. He used to love horror.
Uh,
We actually, it's so sweet. So we've been married 20 years.
uh,
Um, but we discovered Dario Argento together,
mm,
which was really fun. I love Suspiria. That's my favorite movie of his. I mean, he's got so
mm.
many amazing movies. But we also discovered Asian horror together, and Asian horror
Ooh.
is terrifying.
Oh
It's
yeah,
absolutely terrifying.
it is.
So yeah, earlier on in our marriage, we would watch a ton of horror. He doesn't watch horror as much anymore, but he's so supportive, and he loves supporting me with my work. And whenever I get stuck in one of my books, which we always do, no matter what you're
Mhm.
doing, movie, book, whatever creative project you're doing, you get stuck. And he's always there to kind of like offer advice on like, okay, maybe this, maybe this. But yeah, so he's not in it as much anymore, but we do watch a lot of horror movies together. The last one we watched was Weapons, by the way. I'm
Ooh.
sure you've seen Weapons, right? Have you
Oh
seen it?
yes. Oh yes.
Oh, tremendous. Like, wow. So we just watched that, and then we're gonna watch oh, I forgot. We have another movie we're gonna watch soon. We're actually going to watch Predator Badlands this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Which
I got my ticket. I got my ticket. Going to see it Saturday.
nice. Oh, that's awesome. Um, so yeah,
Funny.
no, she's yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Funny
sorry.
story. Uh, the first date that Kelly and I went on.
Hmm.
Keep in mind, she's not a horror fan, so I took her to go see Tales from the Crypt Demon Night.
Oh, that's so great. I love that. Oh, I love
Uh,
it so much.
so of course, after the date was over, she I guess she kind of enjoyed it, but she told her friend she thought I was a nerd.
Nerds are cool though.
Yeah,
Oh,
at least hey, look, she fell in love with her nerd self.
yeah, I love that. I
You
feel
don't
like
have
we all
children.
nerd out on horror.
You don't have children, do you?
Yeah, I do. I have one son. Yeah.
Okay, I see. So I get to ask this question. What age do you think is good enough for a mother for allow their children to see horror films?
Oh
And what
gosh.
type of horror film would you introduce them to?
So he's already seen Cabin in the Woods.
Yep.
He saw that when he was 11, 12.
Mhm.
And that, I mean, that's really gory, but at the same time, we told him like, listen, it's obviously all, it's all fake stuff and
Mhm.
stuff like that. But he actually enjoyed it because he liked the whole concept with the monsters, created and stuff. So
Uh,
yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends on the maturity and also the ability to process that because
mhm.
as you know, there's so much stimuli, which I think is what a lot of us horror fans enjoy about it. Because if I'm stressed out, I'll
Mhm.
watch a horror movie and I'll kind of feel a little more
Oh yeah.
relaxed,
Yeah,
right?
it's like if I'm down in the not really not I'm not down in the dumps all the time, but if I'm like
Mhm.
kind of bored or something's going on, I need to blow some steam. Either like I watch a horror movie or I'll play Resident Evil 4 and kill some zombies.
I love it. Yep. Yeah. No, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like it does depend on the maturity level and also just and like I said, I mean, you just want to make sure that it doesn't, if they have apprehensions about it, of course, then
Mhm.
don't step over that boundary. But he was very curious to watch it.
Oh, okay.
Uh and he's watched oh gosh, I mean, what else has he watched? Um there's been a few others we've shown him. Not a ton though. He's not a big horror fan,
Okay.
so but yeah, but he's okay with it. And I tell him a lot about I love practical effects. That's one of the things I love about horror movies.
Oh yeah, so do I.
Is oh, right. I mean, it's amazing. And so him and I will talk about, in fact, when we saw Frankenstein, we and these
Mm.
aren't practical effects, but we talked about how all the sets were designed, how it was so, it was so beautifully made. And uh but yeah. So then it's. I remember when I was little, my older brother told me, "Oh, it's just ketchup, it's just ketchup, And so I guess that helped me kind of like, watch it at an early age.
Okay, so my final question will be, and this is pretty good for you. If you could create a horror film, what type of horror film would it be, and what subgenre would it be?
Oh gosh, I do love slashers.
Hmm.
I do love body horror too.
Yeah.
So those are both the two subgenres I really enjoy. Uh, oh gosh, I think I would go with body horror.
Mhm.
'Cause that's oh god, that's just that really hits hard. And I'm sorry. So you asked the one question was what
Well,
subgenre?
yeah, if you could write a horror movie, what type of horror movie would it be, and what subgenre would it be? So you said it would be body horror.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, body horror is intense. The Ugly Stepsister. Have you watched that?
Oh yeah, I seen that for. Oh man.
Oh god, that yeah, that one part at the end where she's pulling out the
Oh man, it amazes me when you take this one of the thing I like about period pieces is when you see
yeah.
some of the stuff they had to do and they don't have modern technology and imagine
Mhm.
doing all the crap that she
God,
was trying to do just to be beautiful. And it's like,
it
God
was
damn.
great. Like the eyes, right? The eye scene. It
I
was a
know,
lot
yeah.
like Clockwork Orange, in some aspects, right? It was kind of like
Uh-huh.
Clockwork. But yeah, oh god, you're right though. The way they did that because they would have had to do it that way back then.
Yeah, they had to do it
There's
that
no
way.
other way.
Tapeworms. Ugh, God.
Oh god,
Just
which is very it's cool because one of my favorite authors is Nick Cutter. I don't know if you heard of Nick Cutter.
no.
Um, he wrote a book called The Troop, which
Mhm.
is body horror. It involves worms. But I saw some parallels between the Ugly Stepsister and The Troop, which was kind of cool.
Oh boy. Yes, yeah. I tell you, we just love horror.
Oh, me too. Oh, I feel like I could talk to you for like another hour. So much to
No.
talk.
No,
Yeah.
it amazes me because I don't know why my mother did this, but she took us to go see Jaws when it first came out in '75 in the theaters. And
How
yes,
old were you?
I was maybe 13,
Oh wow. Okay. Okay. Oh wow.
maybe 13 at the time. But
Wow.
me and I have a morbid sense of humor, so I didn't care.
That's cool. I love that she did that. By the way.
Yeah, yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I had a morbid sense. Not the thing is, I always tell people this. I wanted to go see The Exorcist, but my mother thought it was too scary. She said, "Oh no, it's
Yeah.
too scary." I said, "Mom, I don't care. I've seen weird crap. I want to go see it
Yeah.
because again, in the '70s, there's no social media, there's no internet, no nothing. But all you heard
Yeah.
was word of mouth about how great The Exorcist was and how crazy it
Mhm.
was, and I had to go see it. So me and my friends, we snuck and go saw it.
Oh my gosh, that movie's so scary to this day. It's the one of
Oh
the
man,
scariest
yeah,
movies.
that and I always tell people, yes, the lines were that crowded. Yes, people
Mhm.
ran out of the theater. Yes, people were throwing up. People were screaming and hollering
Oh
because
my
you have to understand at that particular time you never saw a movie like that before. I mean,
yeah.
the only movie that got a real reaction out of the audience was Psycho and
Oh
the
yeah.
shower scene. So you
Yep.
really had any type of experience like that until The Exorcist came out. And
Mhm.
it was mainly well, it wasn't Linda Bear masturbating. It wasn't Linda Bear throwing out f bombs. It was that scene where
Mhm.
she turns her head around as if
Oh god, yeah.
yeah turns around. That freaked everybody out because no one was expecting that when she did that.
No, that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So there you have it. Once again, I want to thank Janelle for coming on for Women in Horror. Just if you want to know where can people find you at, Janelle.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I'm on Twitter X at you can find me at J_Schiecke. I'm on TikTok at Janelle.Schiecke. I'm on Instagram at Janelle.Schiecke. And my website, Janelle.Schiecke.com. You can find me there as well.
Good, good, good. So if you want to order all of her great books, especially the next to the latest book, The Clatter Man, I'll
Mhm.
have those links in the description box below. I want to thank Janelle for coming on. And
Thank you.
once again, thank you once again for participating in Women in Horror. And hopefully you can actually come on to our live stream that I am a member of called the Horror Hangout live stream.
I would love to. That would be so
I do have to warn you, don't you know? A couple of two of my horror girls, Jen and Triv, they could
fun.
be a little raunchy.
That's okay.
Okay, just a fair warning. So, thanks once again for coming on. And I always sign off like this. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember horror rules. All right, stay safe out there, everyone.